Right now at 5, remembering the Reddings Mill firefighter who lost his life this past weekend.
And we finally got some rain last night. We'll talk about that and the cooler weekend ahead.
Plus, new homes programs with the KRPS.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Well, good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5 a.m. I'm Elise Snowy.
And I'm Lindsay Gaffney.
And it's finally Friday here in the 4 states. And you know what? We finally got some rain to go along with that.
All around, yeah, it's like a great Friday.
Yes.
I mean, temperatures are going to be great. It's going to be sunny. We got some rain last night. Shaping up to be kind of one of the best Fridays we've had in a while. Can't complain.
No, you really can't.
Temperatures today really only reaching low 70s. So we go ahead, we can take a look outside. Temperatures right now, a little bit warm. So we're starting off in the low 60s. But we'll go ahead and take a look outside out in Joplin and Pittsburgh here in a minute. Here we go. 67 in Joplin, 64 in Pittsburgh. So we're starting off in the low 60s, which is not a cool start to the morning. And after all the rain that we got, it's maybe a little bit muggy, but we got a little bit less than an inch of accumulation out in Stockton. Same in Fort Scott and Nevada area, about just about an inch of rain. Now, over in Yates Center, about 1.25 inches of rain. So we got a little bit more. That was pretty nice. And about 1 inch in Parsons. Now, out in Oklahoma, not a ton. Out in Miami, only about 1/2 inch. And the same out in Joplin, only about 1/4 inch. Not a ton of rain in our southwestern counties, but that's okay. We're still happy that we got any rain at all. Now, most of the showers have started to clear out. We've still got some overcast conditions, especially on the Missouri side, but still, it is going to be a fantastic day. Temperatures are going to warm up just slightly from 67 out in Joplin, really only getting up to mid-70s today. So it's going to be all around a really nice day. Now, winds are light right now, still out of the south, but that boundary is still continuing to move through, just following those rain showers. And then we're going to be picking up winds up to gusting 15-20 miles per hour throughout the day, but they're going to be out of the north, bringing in that cooler air. But I'll talk more about that coming up.
All right, we'll see you soon, Lindsay. Thanks. Oh, the Reddings Mill Fire Protection District is mourning the loss of their fellow firefighter, Tucker Berry. Firefighter Tucker Berry passed away in an incident involving a golf cart this weekend at the age of 21. KOAM's Melissa Alexis spoke to the fire department about the impact Berry had on the community.
He had drive and ambition that would rival anyone I've ever met.
Dedicated is the word Tucker Berry's coworkers use to describe him.
He always gave it 100%, 110%. Everything he did, he wanted to do better. Whether that was in the fire service, in this community.
Deputy Chief Metcalf says Berry lived the fire department's motto, which was "We care," and he even got custom suspenders with the phrase on it.
So he could see it every time he put his gear on, and he understood the mission.
The 21-year-old worked at Reddings Mill Fire Protection District for 1.5 years before his tragic passing.
He's never going to be a person that really has anybody dislike him. And you're not going to you're just going to be a better person by hanging out with him.
We're a very close-knit family, and we would work outside of work on other projects, and he was willing to do it at no cost.
A close-knit bond, he says he will miss. He says this is a big loss, not only for the fire department, but also for the community. Reporting in Reddings Mill, Melissa Alexis, KOAM News.
Now, the firefighters say he's known for his community service in the fire service and in his hometown of Lockwood, Missouri. Well, McDonald County Schools celebrated the opening of a new storm shelter with a ribbon cutting ceremony. Now, the shelter, located at the White Rock Elementary in Jane, Missouri, is one of 6 being built across the district thanks to a $21.5 million bond issue passed by voters in 2022. Now, the new shelter will provide improved safety for students, staff, and the community, but will also serve as additional educational space.
Well, for one, pride in our community, pride in our building, pride in our schools. We want people to realize that that we care about our students and we want our students to be safe. And I say students and staff as well. We want them to be able to come to school and have a safe environment for learning and a safe environment for activities as well.
Now, once the construction projects are completed, every school in the McDonald County R1 school district will have an accessible storm shelter. Well, Freeman Health System played host to Autumn Fest at its East Campus yesterday. The Come and Go event featured music, a car show, and some chili dogs. Organizers say it was a great way for the Freeman Advantage members and the Freeman Volunteer Service folks to get together.
We love working together, and you know, our schedules are crazy just on a daily, weekly basis. So for us to be able to partner together and bring our demographics together in one place, because we do overlap. You know, Advantage members are volunteers, and a lot of times volunteers are Advantage members, and we love the opportunity to serve them together.
You can become a Freeman Advantage member if you're over 50. The Advantage program offers a variety of things from exercise classes, walking groups, medical education, book club, and movie days. The KRPS, a radio station that operates from Pittsburg State University, is moving out of the building and has been in for the past 36 years. The radio station will now have a new home in the Bicknell Center for the Performing Arts. KOAM's Anthony Saviello gives us one final look at the station's home for over 3 decades and speaks with a man who has worked there from the beginning.
At the home of the Gorillas sits Shirk Hall. Within there lies the Baxter Broadcasting Center, the home of 89.9 KRPS. At least it has been.
It's a house cleaning, and it's an opportunity to, we can make the best of it.
Cleaning house after 36 years has Matthew Witt looking back through the history of the radio station.
Oh, here we are smoking a cigarette in our fashionable suit and tie. Yes, so that was a nice discovery.
Matt has been at the station since its birth.
Yeah, these are kind of clunky and not my favorite media, but that's how we would record back 30 plus years ago.
30 plus years of working with a variety of people.
It's been interesting to go through this process with him, because I'm a relative short timer, only here 7.5 years, compared to Matt's 36 years.
30 plus years of history, not just within the CDs and records, but the man who cares for them.
I've gone through so many boxes, and we have television or newspaper articles with Matt. Matt in 1998, and Matt in 2008, and Matt in 2018.
30 plus years, not just working in a radio station, but building relationships.
I suppose a bond has developed over the decades, and we appreciate that, and I hope we're still serving those folks into the future.
But even with eyes on the future, there's still room to remember the past.
So it's very old-fashioned in many ways, but you can develop an affection for something old-fashioned, I think.
In Pittsburgh, Anthony Saviello, KOAM News.
Now, the KRPS general manager tells us the station hopes to be fully moved into its new home by July of next year. And that's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes coming up on the KOAM Morning News. The Missouri District Volleyball Championship is set for this Saturday. We'll have the highlights from last night's action. Plus, the White House announces its plans for its first artificial intelligence national security. We'll see how the federal government plans to implement the new technology. And Lindsay Gaffney will have a look at your forecast. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. We'll be right back. Continue yesterday for high school volleyball in Missouri. Now, 4 of our local schools do battle over in Mount Vernon. Now, we've reached the semifinals round of the Class 3 District 12 volleyball tournament. East Newton plays the host Mount Vernon. Now, in the first set, Savannah Dam gets the kill as Mount Vernon jumps out to an early lead. East Newton calls multiple timeouts to slow down the pace. Now, later in this set, really a good dig here by Katie Sousa that keeps things alive, and East Newton finally cashes in on multiple opportunities. Patriots trying to keep it close. Now, still in the first set, Savannah Dam comes through and gets the kill. Mountaineers win the first set 25-14. Mount Vernon would win the first 2 sets, and here we are in the 3rd set. Tegan Hoover comes in and finds the open floor, and that would set up match point. Mount Vernon aiming for the sweep. Tegan Hoover gets a hand on it, and it falls on the East Newton side of the floor. Mount Vernon beats East Newton 3 sets to none. Lady Mountaineers advance to the district championship on Saturday. Now in the second semifinal game of the night, the 3-seed Lamar takes in on the 2-seed Monette. In the first set, Morgan Wright sets up Peyton Brandt, and she spikes this one hard and gets the kill. Monette in control early, but Lamar hangs tough. Bailey Hecadon hits this off the hands of a defender to get the point for Lamar. Now we go to match point. This one has too much on it as Monette wins the first set 25-20. Now onto that second set. Lamar has a 24-21 lead. Now this one is blocked at the net by Chrislyn Dixon, and Lamar wins set number 2. Later in the third set, Adeline Brownlee finds the open floor here, and Cubs win the set 29-27. Monette wins 3 sets to 2. The Cubs will face Mount Vernon in the district championship on Saturday afternoon. Now over to high school football. Baxter Springs went on the road to Galena last night. Lions up 7-0 after Galena fumbles on the first play. Bulldogs get right back to work. Jack Perry hits Thatcher Bodkin on a swing pass, and that moves the chains. Now one play later, Caleb Burkhart takes it around the edge, barrels down to the 2-yard line. Then Burkhart walks into the end zone from the 2 yards out. Baxter Springs still leads 7-6. Second quarter, Lions offense gets some life as Isaiah Main throws across the middle, and that's tipped into the air and caught by Caleb Grant. Later in the second, Main takes it himself up the middle for a first down. Now that drive ends with a field goal, and Baxter's up 10-6 at half. The first play of the third quarter, Evan Whitmire stiff arms the defender to the ground, gets to the outside, and he's gone for a 40-yard touchdown. Bulldogs get a win on senior night. They take down Baxter Springs 36-20 and finish the regular season with a 4-4 record. Pitt State football heads on the road this Saturday to face undefeated Central Oklahoma in a game that very well could decide who wins the MIAA championship.
These are games that you live for. These are games that you come to a place like Pitt State to go compete in. So I think it's going to be an awesome challenge for some of our guys, some guys to get to go on the road and face this challenge.
This is a great test for us. It's going to be a great test for us. Watching film on them, their offensive line's really sound. Tight ends are really good. Receivers can fly. Running backs are really talented. But it all stems around their quarterback kind of and what he's able to do. And so it's going to be another, great opponent we're going to play.
Like Jack said, we got to win pre-snap. We got to get the call. We got to get lined up, and we got to play fast, and we can't make mistakes. I mean, that's where they expose you, is if you have a breakdown in coverage on the second or third level, they're going to find it and they're going to make you pay. Or if you have a misfit in the run game up front, the running backs are going to make you pay for it.
Now, this is the second top 10 battle of the year for the Gorillas. They won the first back on August 31st. At home against Ferris State, but the Gorillas go on the road. This time, the Broncos are 7-0, ranked number 9 in the country and have the number 1 offense in the country according to multiple metrics. And like we mentioned earlier, this will be hugely impactful for who wins the MIAA conference title this season. Here's a look at the current standings. UCO alone in first place, a half game behind are the Gorillas. Now, if PSU wins out, it's guaranteed at least a share of the MIAA Conference Championship. Well, still to come, healthcare professionals are struggling with the shortage of IV fluids. We'll hear how hospitals are adjusting to the challenges. Plus, Lindsay returns with a look at your weekend forecast when the KOAM Morning News returns.
Rain. The rest of us saw half an inch or less, especially on the Missouri side, southern Missouri and Arkansas and Oklahoma. Didn't get a ton, but any rain was welcome. Now most of the showers are starting to push off and clouds are going to clear out here soon, though we're starting off the morning a bit cloudy and a bit breezy. So winds are going to continue to gust up to 20 miles per hour, even up to 23 miles per hour by 10:30, but they do die down through midday, but they pick back up again by the mid-afternoon, about 6 p.m. Winds start to pick back up 20-25 miles per hour, and then by 9 p.m. even stronger than that, up to 30 miles per hour. Now after this, we're going to have a pretty nice weekend, especially seeing that our high yesterday was 90 degrees. We broke a record that was set back in 2003. Previous record was 88, so we got up to 90 degrees in the Joplin area, and even some areas a little bit warmer than that, especially out in the west. Now our low was about 58. This morning, we're starting off our low down in the 60s, so about 62 degrees, and again, a bit breezy. Now, those clouds will clear out, and we'll warm up only to mid to upper 70s, so it's going to be a nice day today. Still not as cool as the average should be. We're averaging out this time of year normally in the mid to upper 60s, but we're still in the mid 70s today. We're going to drop down a little bit lower as we head into the weekend, but today it's going to be mostly sunny, winds out of the north, and again a couple of moments where winds are gusting up to 20-25 miles per hour, but temperatures across the region: 75 in Joplin, 74 in Pittsburgh, Parsons, Neodesha, 73 in Lamar, Nevada, Stockton, 72 in Iola and Yates Center. Now some of our southern counties out in Oklahoma: 77 in Miami, 78 in Veneta and Nowata, so a little bit warmer, but nobody is in the 80s at all today. It is going to be a pretty nice day overall. Then we're dropping down 6 p.m. down to mid or lower 70s, and then by midnight down to mid to upper 50s, which is nearly 15 degrees cooler than what it was by midnight last night. Now, as we head into the weekend, we're going to start off Saturday's looking pretty good in the lower 70s. Sunday, we're going to start to warm back up, back into the upper 70s, as we're kind of in the middle of this ridge. We're having days where we're warming up slowly, and then as we head into Monday, temperatures warm right back up to the 80s. But we're going to enjoy this weekend while we can. Upper to mid 70s, about 73 on Saturday, so a little bit cooler Saturday. Sunny weekend, but it is going to be warmer as we head into the week. 84 on Monday, 85 on Tuesday. Now Wednesday, we're going to have another cold front move through. Winds pick up on Tuesday. Wednesday, those storms start to roll in and they clear out by Thursday morning, just in time for Halloween. However, we do have more rain chances that is coming up on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So hopefully we'll get some more rain next weekend, but that's a look at your forecast. We'll be right back.
Topping Health Watch this morning. Flesh-eating bacteria cases are on the rise in Florida after hurricanes Helene and Milton. Now, to stay safe, the Florida Department of Health recommends people avoid swimming or wading in floodwaters. If someone comes in contact with potentially contaminated water, cover any wounds with a waterproof bandage and wash thoroughly afterward. Now, in terms of how deadly the bacteria can be, of the 150 to 200 cases reported to the CDC every year, about 1 in 5 people die from the infection, typically within 1 or 2 days of getting sick. Well, an E. coli outbreak has restaurants pulling onions as a precaution. Taco Bell, Pizza Hut, and KFC restaurants in the U.S. have removed fresh onions from some locations. Now, food safety officials investigating the McDonald's Quarter Pounder related E. coli outbreak haven't linked any cases to Taco Bell or the other Yum brands. Now, federal officials are examining the onions and beef patties used in Quarter Pounders. The FDA said preliminary information from its investigation showed slivered onions served on the sandwiches are a likely source of contamination. An IV fluid shortage looping around hospitals across the country. Kevin Stewart has more on what hospitals in Georgia are doing to adjust to the ongoing shortage.
Really, almost everything that we do in a hospital requires some sort of an IV product.
When you go to the hospital, the expectation is to get blood drawn and get an IV flowing. Now, a nationwide IV fluid shortage has forced changes at Tanner Medical Center.
So we've moved to a situation where we do it when we need it, as opposed to maybe we might need it.
Conservation is the name of the game for hospitals still adjusting.
We do keep PARs 8 or 10 on the floor.
Finding ways to save these replenishing bags of water, potassium, salt, sugar, and more.
Decreasing the amount of IV fluids that we're giving for patients, or if there's alternatives, if you can use an oral product like Gatorade or something like that.
Priority is placed on critically ill patients and challenging surgeries. So far, surgeries here have not had to be postponed. Piedmont Healthcare says, quote, Piedmont has a supply resilience plan that includes the use of our own distribution center and enough inventory to manage through most supply disruptions, such as the one we are currently experiencing. Emory Healthcare shared a statement saying, quote, our pharmacy and clinical teams are developing contingency plans to minimize the impact to patient care. We are also carefully managing the shipments we receive from Baxter and alternative vendors. And Wellstar says, quote, we are carefully managing our supply of intravenous fluids and other critical supplies as we care for our patients. Tanner says the conservation efforts may lead to permanent changes.
The American Society of Anesthesiologists recommends that you can have clear liquids up until 2 hours before your surgery, and if you really push that, they don't need fluids during their surgery because their vascular volume, the amount of fluid they have in their body, is so high.
And that's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
We finally got some rain last night, no more than about an inch of accumulation, which is unfortunate, though we were happy to get rain at all. Now rain's clearing out, cooler temperatures today and for the rest of the weekend.
Right now at 5:30, a health fair in Pittsburgh gives Southeast Kansas residents an opportunity to participate in multiple different types of screenings.
And we finally got some rain last night, but we're heading into the weekend much cooler because of it.
Plus, police and firefighters in Webb City come together to raise money for area fundraisers.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Well, good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's just coming up on 5:32. I'm Elise Noe.
And I'm Lindsay Gaffney.
Yes, and thank you for joining us on this Friday, October 25th, whether you're at home or streaming on our KOAM Plus app.
Oh, yeah.
It's always a good time. You can get your weather whenever you want it.
And you definitely needed it last night. We had some thunderstorms. I even saw a post about a tornado alarm or fire alarm was going off because it was struck by lightning.
Oh, wow.
So definitely got some storms last night, thankfully. We can go ahead and we can take a look outside and we'll talk about the temperatures that are starting out right now. 67 in Joplin, 63 in Pittsburgh. So we're starting off a little bit warmer in the low 60s. We haven't really gotten much cooler than that just because that cold front is still just now moving out. So we're warmer today. We had a record high day yesterday, and then the rain up to about an inch out in north of Nevada near Parsons and Chanute, also near Yates Center, but a little bit less if you move further southeast, about ½ an inch out in Miami, quarter of an inch in Joplin, and a little over ½ an inch out in the Stockton area. So it was pretty nice. We got a good amount of rain though. I mean, good amount for this time of year, good amount of rain for the lack of rain that we've seen for the last couple of weeks into the last couple of months. Now the rain's starting to clear out. Most of the clouds are still kind of sticking around, so we're starting off the morning a little bit in overcast conditions, but overall it is a fantastic day today. Once these temperatures warm up just slightly, that's going to be our high for the day in the mid 70s. Winds are also going to be shifting out of the north, so we're going to have that north breeze and gusting up to 30 miles per hour still out in the northeast counties, northwest counties. Then that boundary moves through and we're going to have a much cooler day today in the mid 70s and even low 70s tomorrow, plus sunny skies all weekend long, but I'll have those details coming up.
All right, thanks, Lindsay. Well, the Vernon County Fairgrounds in Nevada, Missouri rolled out a youth fair yesterday. The theme of the event was Transition to Your Finish Line and Rev Up Your Future. The event, which included vendors and a car show, also provided information and resources for youth with disabilities as they make the transition into adulthood.
We really hope that they learn information from all the resources that were represented today to help them transition into adulthood, being able to learn about what jobs they may want to do, transitioning into school, just moving on into their own lives after they graduate high school.
They told me that they could help me with money plans or getting to where I need to go.
The fair also featured award-winning public speaker and author Aaron Likens. Well, people in Southeast Kansas headed to the Outreach Health Fair in Pittsburgh yesterday. The event at the Community Health Center of Southeast Kansas featured all types of health screenings, including dental and vision, blood testing, and more.
We have a lot of members of Sunflower Health Plan here in this vicinity in Southeast Kansas, and we know that access to care can be a challenge, and so it's important to us that we are able to meet members and people of the community where they're at.
Various area groups and businesses such as Hy-Vee and the Crawford County Health Department made the screenings possible. And to be the first to see breaking news, weather, and sports, you can download the KOAM News app. It's available free of charge in the Apple App Store or the Google Play Store. Just search for the KOAM News app. Well, police officers and firefighters gathered to embrace each other and their community for a good cause. Today's Badges and Burgers event, yesterday, took place at the fire department in Webb City. KOAM's Lonnie Walton takes us there.
Done this for over 25 years, and for 25 years we've been cooking burgers and benefiting local fundraisers.
Don Melton is Webb City's chief of police. He says this fundraiser event benefits many in need, even those close to home.
Last year we just did it for West City employees. We had an employee's family going through a medical emergency, so we kind of helped them last year with our funds.
Badges and Burgers donates to several organizations throughout the community, like the United Way.
All the proceeds go to benefit the Area Agency on Aging, United Way, and the Webb City Cares.
Dwayne Dwelling, Executive Director of United Way in Southwest Missouri and Southeast Kansas, says these funds are going to some very key areas.
So these funds will help United Way fund agencies that provide services in the area of education, health, and financial stability.
Milton says this is all for the biggest cause, helping people.
It's our way to give back to the community. You know, they give us so much, so we're happy to give back to them.
Reporting in Webb City, I'm Lonnie Walton, KOAM News.
And in addition to burgers, there was also a raffle at yesterday's event. And that's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. And she's one of the most recognizable figures in history, and now she's having her story told in a documentary. We'll have an inside look at the upcoming film, Martha. Plus, 17 people are killed after an Israeli airstrike hits a school in Gaza. We'll have the latest. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. Topping World Watch this morning. Israel strikes a Gaza school being used as a shelter, killing over a dozen people. Now, many of the dozens injured, which included children, were rushed to the hospital after yesterday's attack in Gaza's Newscast-Oct refugee camp. Now, at least 17 Palestinians were killed and 13 of them were under the age of 18. Dramatic video shows the magnitude of the destruction at the school and many relatives mourning. The Israeli military says it targeted a Hamas command center housed in a compound formerly used as a school in the area. It also claims they took numerous steps to mitigate the risk of harming civilians. Well, Russian President Vladimir Putin says the Middle East is on the brink of a full-scale war. The remarks came during Putin's speech at the closing session of the BRICS Summit of Developing Economies. Now, world leaders from China, India, Turkey, and others attended the three-day session, which focused on the war in Ukraine and violence in the Middle East. Putin says unless Palestinians achieve an independent state, they will feel the burden of historical injustice, and the region would remain in an atmosphere of permanent crisis. Well, a victory in court for chip maker Intel after Europe's top court rules in favor of the U.S. company, ending part of its long-running antitrust battle with the European Commission. Now, the European Union's Court of Justice upheld a lower court's decision to invalidate a fine issued against the company from more than 10 years ago. In 2009, the commission hit Intel with a more than $1 billion fine, accusing the company of using illegal sales tactics against the smaller rival company, AMD. Well, America has its first artificial intelligence national security strategy, with the White House hoping to give the military a boost when it comes to developing and implementing the new technology. Jared Halpern has more from the White House.
The application of artificial intelligence will define the future.
As America's military and spy agencies increase their use of artificial intelligence, President Biden has signed the first ever national security strategy for AI. It's an executive order aimed at helping defense agencies seize the promise and power of the technology while also minimizing the risk. And the administration says a big part of the strategy is making sure the U.S. is a leader in AI development.
Our competitors also know how important AI leadership is in today's age of geopolitical competition, and they are investing huge resources to seize it for themselves. So we have to start upping our game.
But it's still not clear how the White House plans to pay for all that new AI. Right now, it's stuck in a funding fight with lawmakers on Capitol Hill, claiming Congress won't provide the money they need to keep up with adversaries like Russia and China.
Congress still hasn't appropriated the science part of the CHIPS and Science Act, even while China is increasing its science and technology budget.
Some congressional Republicans have been skeptical of President Biden's attempts to regulate AI, saying it could stifle innovation. And mitigating the risk of new technology should be a job for lawmakers, not the White House.
While these AI-powered systems offer the promise of increased security and efficiency, they also bring significant risks that Congress must carefully assess.
The administration says it expects the framework announced Thursday to change as the technology develops.
And that's a look at World Watch. We'll be right back.
Well, we finally got some rain last night, though it has already cleared out. You can take a look downtown Pittsburgh. You can still see a little bit of the rain on the ground, which is nice to wake up to. But we didn't get a ton of accumulation, only about an inch as a max in some areas. You can see north of Nevada, out in south of Chanute, near Parsons as well, and near Yates Center. A couple areas where we got about an inch. The rest of the areas in the darker blue was about a half an inch to a quarter of an inch, so not a ton, but it's okay because we were happy to get the rain regardless. Now, most of those showers are clearing out and all the clouds are still kind of just clipping Pittsburgh, Miami Grove, and then we'll continue to shift off to the east, and we're going to have a really great day today. A little bit windy, so winds continue to gust up to 20 miles per hour through 10 a.m., and then they die down during the middle of the day, but pick back up as we head into early evening, gusting 25 to even 30 miles per hour, and then even stronger than that as we head into about 9-10 p.m. So if you're planning on going out, it's going to be a bit breezy still today, though yesterday's high was up to 90 degrees. That was a record high that beat the previous record of 88 degrees set back in 2003. So we definitely, I mean, that's incredibly hot for this time of year. Normally we're looking at temperatures in the mid to upper 60s. So we were nearly 15 to 20 degrees above that. Now, luckily today, much cooler. We're starting off still a little bit warm in the low 60s, and again, a bit breezy and cloudy. But by the end of the day, mostly sunny skies, still again a bit breezy, but temperatures only getting up to the mid 70s across the region. A little bit warmer in the southern counties. You can see 77 in Miami, 77 in Welsh, Veneta and Newada, about 78. But the northern counties, a little bit cooler, 72 in Iola and Yates Center, 73 Chanute, Fort Scott, Nevada, Stockton, and then those central counties in those mid 70s. So we've got a bit of a wider range, low to upper 70s, but still 70s nonetheless. It's going to be much better than it was yesterday. By 6 p.m., low 70s. By midnight, upper 50s, and yesterday by midnight we were still in the low 70s, so it is much cooler than it was yesterday. Now, it doesn't last long because we do have a ridge forming over our area, so this is through Saturday. Temperatures do drop on Saturday down to lower 70s, so a few more degrees cooler tomorrow. Now, overnight, a few clouds, but we've got this ridge forming over our area for the weekend and into early next week, which is just going to continue to warm us up. So by Sunday afternoon, we're up to upper 70s again, and then by Monday, we're already reaching low 80s. Now there is another low pressure system that is going to be moving into our area midweek next week, starting to have some gusty winds on Tuesday ahead of that front, and then storms after that. But this weekend is looking fantastic. 73 on Saturday, 78 on Sunday. Sunny skies, so much cooler weekend today. But like I said, we warm right back up. Now it's going to be a windy day on Tuesday. Those storms start Wednesday and clear out early Thursday morning. So Halloween so far is still looking good, dry, and much cooler as well. But we're going to enjoy this weekend while we can. It is going to be a fantastic, cooler, sunny weekend. Now we'll be right back.
Well, a creative Halloween guru decorates his home with piles of pumpkin guts, and a car wash is offering to pumpkin spice your ride for a good cause. We have all this coming up in today's Very Pumpkin-y. Take a look at this.
Halloween is upon us, and as such, upon this Iowa home is something very Halloween-y indeed. Gigantic pumpkin guts. What the rest of us normally remove and reserve for the refuse receptacle, creative mastermind Greg Dietzenbach painstakingly recreated, from the torn and tattered orange tendrils to the oversized seeds to those little flimsy carving knives that usually break in a matter of minutes, and draped it all upon his home for a surreal, silly, and spooky celebration. If Dietzenbach's name rings a bell, and with a name like Dietzenbach, how could it not? It's because his last kooky creation, the Monst-Door, went viral in 2022, serving up interactive scares to unsuspecting trick-or-treaters, and buku views on social media. Dietzenbach has already posted his latest mad creation online, and thanked his wife and kids for supporting his wacky Halloween hobby, and his neighbor for helping get the messy monstrosity up on his roof. And from a Halloween home awash in pumpkin guts to a car wash awash in a pumpkin spice, which is a thing we needed, apparently. This pumpkin-spiced car wash in Boston may look like any other bubble-scrubbing biz, but it's when you take a whiff that you'll notice the difference.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, it smells so good.
The fall fragrance normally reserved for festive frothy drinks is infused directly into the Ultra Shine upgrade. But this odoriferous effort isn't all fun and fall games. The owners are hoping to raise a pumpkin-spiced stink in a good way. Proceeds during the month of November will go to support Community Servings, a nonprofit providing holiday meals for ill and at-risk families and individuals. So, along with a clean car, you can have pumpkin spice and everything nice. For Take a Look at This, I'm Jeremy Roth.
Well, sometimes truly iconic figures are recognizable by a single name. Madonna, Beyonce, Cher. Well, a new documentary looks at another woman as such notable. David Daniel has a look.
What does it mean to be the first female self-made billionaire in American history?
Martha Stewart may have been the original influencer. The documentary Martha chronicles her rise, fall, and return.
She was preposterously perfect. Perfect little pattern.
Perfect.
Things look fabulous, but are they?
She wanted her story told. She was ready to tell her story, but in her Martha way. You know, Martha is not a woman who is comfortable with self-reflection. Martha powers forward.
The cookie cutter house and the cookie cutter life was not for me.
Director R.J. Cutler says Stewart surprised him.
My expectations were a childhood of privilege and, you know, a certain kind of proper whatever. You know, what you'd think of with Martha Stewart.
What is more important, a marriage or a career?
You tell me.
I don't know.
The more she told me, the more I saw an opportunity to make a film about American womanhood.
This is a targeted prosecution. It's what we're calling a hunt. I was a trophy for these idiots. I was dragged into solitary, no food or water. Those prosecutors should have been put in a Cuisinart and turned on high.
When she didn't want to give it up, she pointed us to things that would give it up on her behalf. Her prison diaries, the letters to her husband during the breakup of their marriage.
If you're married and your husband starts to cheat on you, he's a piece of get out of that marriage.
Didn't you have an affair early on?
Yeah, but I don't think Andy ever knew about that. I could have just been a miserable has-been housewife, but I didn't let that happen to myself. And I'm so happy I didn't.
In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
We'll be right back.